Есть в Казахстане регион.
There is a region in Kazakhstan which is filled with great history. Such concentration of spiritual, sacred, and ancient places is not found in any other region of the country. And today I will tell you the ancient legends and beliefs of these places. Hello, this is the Terra Incognita project. My name is Anton Fyodorov, and I continue my journey through the south of Kazakhstan. And I came to Turkestan region.
Я в Туркестанскую область.
Today I will go on a journey through the spiritual and sacred places of Turkestan region. We will visit the ancient settlement of Kultobe and take a look at its unique architecture. I will also tell you the legend of Saint Ukash-Ata, who lived in these places and was considered the bodyguard of Prophet Muhammad. I will show you the tree, which according to local residents is 1300 years old. Kazakhstan is an ideal country for travel. There are so many unique and inimitable natural beauties. Each region of Kazakhstan has its own history. In the north of the country, there are still monuments of the Russian Empire. In the east, there is evidence of an ancient Saka culture. The west of the country witnessed the development of a nomadic civilization. Finally, the south of Kazakhstan is rich in spiritual and holy places for Muslims. And the real cultural pearl of this region is the city of Turkestan, from where 1,500 years ago the spread of Islam began throughout Central Asia.
Главной достопримечательностью и священным...
The main attraction and sacred place of pilgrimage of Turkestan is the mausoleum of Khoja Ahmed Yasawi, a Sufi poet who had a significant influence on the spread of Islam in Central Asia. On the territory of the mausoleum, there is one interesting place related to the life of Khoja Ahmed Yasawi.
Ходжи Ахмета Ясауи.
The city of Turkestan, previously called Iasi, was one of the nodes of the Great Silk Road, connecting it with the boundless Eurasian steppe. Caravans from China, Persia, Byzantium, loaded with the finest china, beautiful fabrics, jewelry and other goods, went through these places. The legendary Khoja Ahmed Yasawi lived here. His poems made people think about good deeds and honor. People learned his poems by heart and made them popular far beyond the vast steppe empire. This underground mosque is called Hilvet. Here, Khoja Ahmed Yasawi spent the last years of his life. During this solitude, he wrote a collection of religious and moral poems, Hikmet. Divan-i-Hikmet is not just an invaluable legacy of Sufi religious literature. This collection of poems is one of the oldest Turkic language artifacts and, according to many Turkologists, belong to the Karkanid literary tradition. The origins of the verses of this collection originate in the shamanistic songs of the Turkic nomads. Divan-i-Hikmet is the common heritage of Turkic-speaking peoples. It passed from generation to generation. This work called on people to honesty, justice, goodwill, and patience. This place where ascetics lived is called Hilvet. Khoja Ahmed Yasawi, after turning 63, moved here in honor of Prophet Muhammad. After 63, Khoja Ahmed Yasawi renounced all earthly goods and moved to this place to lead an ascetic life, educate his students, and be in seclusion. The word Hilvet means to be in solitude, to be in silence, to be closer to Allah. In different periods, scientists have conducted many studies of the work of the brilliant poet. In recent decades, the collection Divan-i-Hikmet has been reprinted several times in many countries. This work summarizes the main principles of the philosophy of Ahmed Yasawi. Hikmet preached Islam and contributed to the strengthening of Islam among the people. And today, the place where such important historical events took place is accessible for tourists in the city of Turkestan. Turkestan is important not only for its religious significance. The city is one of huge historical and cultural monuments. More recently, an ancient settlement which impressed archaeologists with its scale was discovered in its vicinity. It was called Kultobe, and there is no need to drive to this place. It is located just a few hundred meters from the mausoleum of Khodja Ahmet Yasawi.
Городище Kultobe – это самое древнее.
The ancient settlement of Kultobe is the oldest part of Turkestan. It is located in the eastern part of the modern city. Once, about 1,500 years ago, a large settlement was located in this place, and it was the territory enclosed by a clay wall. Here, the architectural complex of the ancient citadel was located. Archaeologists made this unique discovery in early 2019. During excavations, scientists found the remains of ancient houses characteristic of the 16th, 17th centuries. But the story of Kultobe began much earlier. Archaeologists managed to find medieval ceramics, dishes, and the remains of ancient buildings at the excavation site. Artifacts found on Kultobe belong to different eras. Some even date back to the 2nd century BC. But most of all, the experts were struck by the architecture of the ancient city.
Вот она, цитадель древнего городища Kultobe.
Here it is, the citadel of the ancient settlement of Kultobe. These massive walls point on the developed architecture skills of local inhabitants. And yet, pay attention to an important detail. The height of these walls is not less than 4 meters and maybe even more.
Можно предположить, что они выполняли оборонительную функцию.
It can be assumed that the facility served a defensive function, as we can notice special holes in these walls through which the soldiers could see approaching enemies. The wall was about 2.5 to 3 meters thick.
Примерно 2,5 или 3 метра. 1500 лет назад.
1,500 years ago, there were no guns, so it was very difficult to break through such a wall.
Штурмом было врагу очень непросто.
Archaeologists were fortunate that such massive structures as fortresses and citadels have been preserved for many centuries. This gives scientists the opportunity to imagine the level of cultural and scientific development of the ancient city. Archaeologists were impressed not only by the scale and technology of the construction of Kultobe. Researchers were particularly interested in the residential areas of the city. In the early days of excavations in the northern part of the ancient settlement, experts discovered ancient houses. According to historians, they were built after the foundation of the Kazakh Khanate in about 15th, 16th centuries. From the dwelling, only the base, the corridor, and the door were preserved. In one of the rooms was a tandoor, which was then used not only for baking bread, but also as a source of heat, an indispensable element of every home of that time. During the excavations, a children's toy made of ceramics and dishes made in the Russian Empire were discovered. These artifacts once again confirm the close relationship between the Kazakh Khanate with its northern neighbor. Now research and excavations at the site of the Kultobe settlement are underway. They will continue for another 3 years, after which an open-air museum will be created here. Now I'm going to the place where, according to the legend, one of the associates of Prophet Muhammad was buried.
Я приехал в место, которое находится в 55 километрах.
I arrived at a place which is located 55 kilometers north of Turkestan. Here is the mausoleum of Ukash-Ata. This is the world's largest burial, which is made for one person. The length of the gravestone is 22 meters, and this is connected with the legend of the great warrior Ukash-Ata.
О великом воине Укаш-Ата.
Once again, I find confirmation in my own words that Turkestan region is the richest region of Kazakhstan with spiritual shrines. Just imagine that dozens of centuries ago, the most important historical events took place here. They undoubtedly influenced the development of modern Kazakhstan. In the place where Ukash-Ata is buried, Imam Shamidin Zakir of Matme. He's the caretaker of the mausoleum and the researcher of the biography and life of the great warrior, who, according to the legend, was also a bodyguard of Prophet Muhammad.
Ukash-Ata, он сам, потому что является...
Ukash-Ata is a Sahaba. Sahaba are those people who during their lifetime saw Prophet Muhammad. Those who accepted Islam during the life of the Prophet are considered his companions, friends. The Muslim Arab conquerors who came to Central Asia received quite a decisive rebuff from the Turkic peoples in the steppes of Kazakhstan, who believed in the sky god Tengri and preached Tengrianism and Sufism. Only later, thanks to Khoja Ahmed Yasawi, who adapted Islam for the Turkic mentality, combining it with Tengrianism in rites and prayers, Islam became the main religion of the steppes. According to the legend, Ukash-Ata was a strong batir. Ukash is a historical person who brought the Muslim religion to these lands. He acted together with companion Anas, whose name is mentioned in the beginning of the Chronicle of the Kazakhs. Besides the fact that Ukash-Ata was a fellow believer and assistant to the Prophet, there is evidence that he belonged to the Turkic family. After the establishment of Soviet power and the transition of the Kazakh to the Cyrillic alphabet, Ukash was called Gakash. But why was this person declared a saint? According to the legend, no enemy could defeat Ukash. No bullet or saber could kill him. Enemies learned that he was most defenseless while reading morning prayers. They came to his house and chopped off his head. Ukash-Ata died in the name of his faith, therefore he is considered a holy man. Many other nations, representatives of other religions, Christians, Muslims, Buddhists, a lot of people come here. People come even from Europe because Ukash-Ata is a saint.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. إنا جعلنا في أعناقهم أغلالا فهي إلى الأذقان فهم مقمحون.
People come to these places for advice. Pilgrims visit these places almost all year round. They come to the huge grave of the holy warrior and ask him for protection and spiritual purification. In this place you really feel some kind of peace, absolute silence, calm, no rush, complete harmony of man and nature. Maybe that's why this place has strong energy. People believe that here you can heal not only your health, but also your soul. But the legend of Ukash-Ata does not end there. Not far from his grave there is a well which, as the legend says, leads to a miraculous underground river, the waters of which flow to Mecca.
По легенде, отрубленная голова Укаш-Ата отлетела за 2 бугра.
According to the legend, the severed head of Ukash-Ata flew over 2 mountains and fell into the ground. And at this place, a well appeared. Its depth is 22.5 meters. Approximately, it is the same as the length of the grave of Ukash-Ata. People believe that the water in this well has miraculous properties. They come here with a request to the Almighty to help them in their affairs, to help in solving some problems, or simply ask the Almighty for health and blessings to overcome some challenges.
Здоровье или благословение на решение каких-то дел.
Ukash-Ata well is a unique attraction of Kazakhstan. It is a narrow tunnel lined with stones which goes down to the depth under a slight slope. An ordinary bucket can barely fit in this well. Water in the well hits through underground paths, but not everyone succeeds in getting it out of the well.
аңыз бойынша пайғамбарымыздың
According to the legend, Ukash-Ata was one of the beloved companions of Prophet Muhammad. Arriving from Mecca, he spread Islam in these territories. Further, according to the legend, Ukash-Ata died at the hands of his enemies and became a shahid. They say that during the prayer, his head was cut off. According to the legend, the severed head rolled down the ground and fell into this well, and then surfaced in Mecca, at the sacred Zamzam well. And therefore, in our time, the inhabitants of Central Asia, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan come here to our source. They consider this water to be healing, equivalent to Zamzam water. But who would have full or empty bucket is known only to God.
кімге су шықпайды, ол бір Алладан болады.
People believe that water in the Ukash-Ata well has healing properties. It is said that many years ago, some lucky people raised not only water from the well, but also flowers, amulets, stones, and much more, which was considered a great fortune. However, it does not come to everyone. Why is the bucket sometimes empty? You here throw a bucket into the well, but there is no water in the place where the bucket falls. Water is a little to the side. Therefore, whether your bucket will be filled with water or not is in the power of the Almighty. If there is water, then this must be understood and accepted as the mercy and blessing of the Most High. I do not presume to say anything. I will share only my own experience. I saw a family of 5 people coming to the well, 3 men and 2 women. Men threw the bucket into the well, but they always got it empty. The first woman threw the bucket, but nothing was raised either. And only the second pilgrim was lucky to have water from the sacred spring.
Существует поверье, что каждый человек, приходя к колодцу за водой,
There is a belief that every person coming to the well for water asks the Almighty for blessing to solve problems.
работу, некоторые большой дом, некоторые здоровье или пополнение в семье.
Some people ask for a good job, some for a big house, some for health or replenishment in the family.
Будет ли мне благоволить Всевышний?
I also made a wish, and now I'll check whether the Most High will favor me for its fulfillment. You need to lower the bucket a couple of meters and just throw the rope into the well.
Не у всех получается с первого раза.
Not everyone gets it the first time.
Признаюсь, я немножко волнуюсь.
I'm a little worried.
Оно пустое.
It is empty.
Что, еще раз можно?
Can I do it again?
Попытка номер 2.
I'll try one more time.
И с четвертого раза мне не повезло.
And from the fourth time, I was out of luck. Well, to fulfill my desire, I have to rely only on my own strength. Thanks.
Спасибо.
The keeper of the well reassured me that I would be able to raise the water from the sacred spring next time. And this is a very good reason to return to these places. I shall continue my journey until the sun sets over the horizon. I'm heading to the sacred Mulberry, whose age exceeds 1,300 years. Not far from the village of Karnak in Turkestan region, this great tree grows. People call this tree Majratut. According to the legend, the mulberry tree was planted in the 8th century by the leader of the Arabs, Kultobe ibn Muslim, who spread Islam in Central Asia. People of several generations took care of the ancient tree, so it survived to this day.
Это дерево стало настоящим.
This tree has become a real place of pilgrimage for believers. This 1,000-year-old mulberry tree is visited by people from different regions of the country. People come to pray and ask the tree to fulfill their wishes. People believe that this tree has a unique power and is filled with sacred meaning. This tree species began to be cultivated 2,500 years ago. The birthplace of this ancient tree is China. Even in antiquity, in the Middle Kingdom, a ban was imposed on the export of mulberry seeds and silkworm eggs. For failure to comply with the order of the Chinese emperor, the perpetrators were sentenced to death. There is a legend that one courageous merchant from Central Asia managed to take out the seeds of this tree from China. He hid them in a turban, bribing a guard. The merchant brought the seeds home, planted them, and they sprouted. From Central Asia, the mulberry tree spread to the west. Thus, this tree appeared here. Now I have to go further to show you another unique historical monument.
Мое путешествие по югу Казахстана в поисках исторических артефактов продолжается.
My journey through the south of Kazakhstan in search of historical artifacts continues, and I came to Jambil region in the village of Murky, because not far from this settlement there is a unique cultural heritage. I'm in a field around which tens of thousands of stones are scattered, and ancient petroglyphs still remain on these stones. According to scientists, the age of these figures is approximately 3,000 to 4,000 years. But the fact is that finding these images will be rather difficult because the stones and fragments of rocks with these drawings were covered with moss and eventually collapsed. Nevertheless, I will try to find traces of the presence of ancient people here.
Следы пребывания здесь древних людей. Отдельные источники утверждают, что изображения, которые
Some sources claim that the images that people put on the rocks in antiquity were mainly dedicated to animals.
животным, это были козлы.
These were goats, horses, some were even sheep.
Где-то даже овцы. Это свидетельствует,
This indicates that then people worshipped these animals, idolized them.
боготворили их. Но, к сожалению,
But unfortunately, I don't see any obvious outlines of the drawings yet.
очертаний рисунков я пока не вижу.
I've been wandering around this field for more than an hour, but so far I have only seen cold stones without any images. But I will definitely find traces of the ancient people here.
Вот я нашел одно изображение. Обратите внимание. Вот так на камеру.
And behold, I found one image. Pay attention to the painted argali, or mountain goat as it is also called. Unfortunately, not all images have been preserved on these stones.
Сохранились на этих камнях.
Murky Petroglyphs are essentially unique historical monuments, proving that the civilization in the Great Steppe was still in ancient times. Petroglyphs are a legacy that has come down to us since the Iron Age. Starting from the slopes of the Ukash-Ata mountains, these artifacts are scattered across the plain. They keep a lot of secrets, over the solution of which scientists have been working for several years.
Чтобы отыскать петроглифы, мне приходится осматривать.
To find petroglyphs, I have to examine literally every stone. Basically, the drawings are applied to stones that have such a dark color.
Имеющий вот такой темный цвет. На них петроглифы видны лучше всего.
Petroglyphs are most visible on them, but so far I have found only a few drawings.
Всего несколько рисунков.
A strong and cold wind rose. This made my search somewhat difficult, but I am adamant in my decision to find ancient artifacts at all costs.
Мне повезло, я нашел один из самых.
I was lucky. I found one of the most striking fragments of Murky's petroglyphs.
Вот здесь сразу видны несколько изображений.
Here you can see several images at once. This is a mountain goat with big horns and another goat, only smaller.
Это горный козел с рогами и еще один козел меньшего размера, и вот здесь третье что-то трудно разобрать.
And now the third image, but it is difficult to figure out the drawing. Surprisingly, if you only imagine that 4,000 years ago people lived in this place and left behind such amazing drawings.
Удивительные рисунки. Юг Казахстана таит в себе немало загадок.
South Kazakhstan keeps many mysteries to which no answers have yet been found. Who knows, maybe next generations will have to solve these amazing puzzles of history. Well, I continue my adventure and there will be a lot of interesting things to see. This was the Terra Incognita project. My name is Anton Fedorov. See you in the next episode.
Федоров, и увидимся с вами в следующей серии.